Hi, welcome back to this YouTube channel and my eBay sellers account, GB Hatchery. Today we have a product-specific video. This is the Philips Dimmable LED 60 watt replacement, 5.5 watt actual LED intermediate base bulb. And I've actually already opened this package to try them out to see what I actually thought. So the package, they're very easy to open. Honestly, I don't think they're worried about theft. In fact, they're almost making it easy to open the package, so easy that it's just completely different than a lot of those blister packs. But here you can see the bulbs. Now these are LEDs. These are meant to be emulating a bulb like this. This is a incandescent bulb. It has the intermediate base. Now intermediate base is going to be in millimeters. And it's, I think they're 17 mil, but this has to screw into 17, so it's, you know, it's like 25 thousandths smaller, or, so this is a little bit, this is probably not as worn because these are brand new, but you can see the base is the same. The depth on the base is about 20. Now 20 here is about the same. The diameter looks to be about 4777. And this one here, this is the older style incandescent. Now these are old. This is not purchased recently. These are ones I've had for a long time that have been at the house. So this is a little bit smaller on diameter. As far as the overall, we're at 97, and here on the old school, it's quite a little bit shorter. So the difference, I think, is this white portion right here. It's a little bit longer. We were at what, 83, 85, and 97. So yeah. So yep. It's about it's about 12 millimeters longer, and this is 12 and another 5, so it's 17. But as you can see, the bulb itself, it looks kind of cool, and those are the LEDs. It looks like filaments, just like on an older style bulb. This one's actually burnt. I have another one in the other room that's not burnt. You can see the old filaments. The filaments are right here, as everyone knows. They would go across. And this is like a vacuum. You can see it's not even perfectly made. Pretty good though, considering what it is. So these are a bit more expensive. I was paying, what did I pay? I think it was like $8 for two, something in that range. And I bought 4 of them. And that sounds like it's glass, but I think this is plastic. That really almost sounds like glass. I don't know if you can hear that. It's very hard plastic, I believe. It's very well formed. So I've used them and they are working pretty well, actually. They are dimmable. Being that this is an incandescent bulb, it works with all of the older incandescent switches. Now these will work with the older incandescent switches, but this will probably work better with a newer style LED switch. This is LED technology. This is a very nice bulb. I've used it for a little while and it's actually pretty impressive. They are expensive. They're $8, and a lot of these bulbs, they rate them for 20,000 hours, and they do not go 20,000 hours. I mean, they ought to just rate them all for 20,000 in everything, because you might get, maybe in my experience recently, maybe a third of them will do the 20,000 hours and 2 out of 3 will not work for some reason. They'll break, they'll will stop working, and you'll have to buy new. So they should really do a case study on how much savings there actually is in real world to be fair, because they're putting 20,000 hours on all of these, and I don't think all of them are going 20,000 hours. Now, if you spend less, you get more of that, especially with the corn cob lights. You'll see a couple of the LEDs burn out, but some of these other brands like Philips and Cree and all of these other brands, they're actually not doing that bad. They're actually doing pretty good on the longevity. Now, real fast on the advertised specifications, 500 lumens, estimated yearly cost 67 cents based on 3 hours a day, 11 kilowatt hours. Cost depends on rates and use, 13.7 years based on 3 hours a day. And it's possible that we're just getting spoiled a little bit to how long these will actually last, that when they do burn out, you kind of feel like you got gypped. But I remember these older bulbs, they used to go out kind of often, but I've had some of these ones that are just laying around, and I put them on dimmers, and we don't turn them all the way up all the time, and they're still just going and going for years, like 7 years. So this is the soft white with a warm glow effect. It kind of gets more yellow as it's dimmer, and a little bit more of a white as it gets brighter, similar to other bulbs. It actually acts a lot like an incandescent bulb. And a lot of times these 60-watt bulbs, this is advertised as 60 watt, a lot of times those would be 9 watts. So this is extremely efficient at an advertised 5.5 watts. Usually the 5.5 watts would only give 40 watts replacement equivalent. But I don't know, I'm going to put it in a fixture and turn it on and see what we get. Okay, so here's our test bed with our 7-year bulb. I've had this in this room for 7 years, and we use it regularly on low. It's just kind of like I get up in the morning, throw it on low. It goes as bright as that. And it's on that bright for a few hours, you know, a little bit every day. But this bulb has been going forever. It's an incandescent bulb, intermediate. Like if I could get more bulbs like that, the only thing is the power efficiency is not real great. So, but that's on low. This thing's just kind of hanging from the ceiling. It's kind of my little humble test bed. But my other house is a Prius, so I'm doing pretty good, I think. And in with the virtual incandescent bulb. This is like virtual reality, you know, with the headset and you go into a virtual world, except you were bringing in bulbs that look like incandescent bulbs on the surface. Now that's actually working pretty well. I don't know if you can see. I'm trying to focus on it. It's actually works really good with the older switch. Like that's almost the same range. In fact, if this incandescent bulb ever goes out, this is probably what we'll replace it with, because it has the nice orange glow, which is nice for skin tone. You know, if you get the blue, the really white 6000K, a lot of times if anybody has missed their tanning sessions, it's very evident, you know. But with the yellow light, it can kind of compensate for that, and it gives more of like a late summer sun glow. But the camera's compensating. But I can tell you that going up and down with the switch, I have a full slider here, and it's full control. Like I can get a little tiny bit. That's up about 1/3 of the way, and it starts to come in. Pretty similar, very similar actually. And I keep going up more and more and more. Now the camera's compensating, but now it just got bright white. There's 4 filaments in the middle, and the first 2 come on at first. There's 2 filaments that kind of get bright. I don't know if you can see that there. And the other 2 are a lot more dim. So the dimmability of this is way beyond some of the other ones out there, and you do not need a special dimmer switch, which is the way they should have always been from the get-go. So this is definitely an excellent bulb. I totally recommend this bulb. Philips did just a godsmack job on it. I mean, it's really good. And I don't say that lightly about things. It's very good. This is virtual reality. If you wanted to get into virtual reality cheaply, this is the way to go. $4 to $5 a bulb. I think a package of 2 was like $8, $10, somewhere in there. I'd have to go back and look at my receipt, but they're not god-awfully expensive. And you're paying maybe $1 more than one of those cheap corncob bulbs that you can get on some of the websites that you see that have high traffic. So that's pretty much it. I mean, what else can you say but what an excellent bulb. Now, as far as longevity, I really can't vouch for that. But I know in my experience, buying things like EcoSmart and some of those, that they tend, especially if they're on sale. If you see LED bulbs on sale, that's because it's a bad batch. That's what I've found. There was a bunch of bulbs, and I bought 100 of them, and they lasted less than an incandescent bulb would have lasted. So I believe they were being returned. They said these are no good, and then they just chopped them down. It was like $4 for 12, and they were selling them for 25 or something like that. So it's I'm sorry I don't have an oscilloscope on this or something like that, some kind of special watt meter or anything. I'm just kind of using the fan that I use daily, but that's where they're going to go. And the dimmability is good. And okay, so right there, about halfway up, the other filament kicked in strongly, but it was still very yellow. And then about 3/4 up, it turns a lot whiter. A little more, almost full blast, and it turns a lighter color. It's kind of much like the incandescent bulbs would do. So in comparison, I could just put that incandescent bulb back in. Okay, so there's the incandescent bulb. It's a little bit dirty. I didn't clean it. But right there is right about where the LED started turning on my dimmer switch. And it was a little bit brighter initially. This has just got just a little bit of a glow to it. So then I'm coming up about half. That's half on the incandescent. That's about 2/3. And it's very similar. Now this is only a 40-watt bulb. It might only be 25-watt actually. I should look at it. I think this is only 25-watt, which is probably why it's lasted so long, because it's the same bulb that could handle 60 watts, but it's not burning as brightly. It has to do with the filament or whatever. So, but as far as brightness goes, I definitely think that I'm getting 60 watts worth of brightness out of this bulb. This is a brighter bulb. This bulb is brighter than that one. I'm going to look at it and see what the wattage is. It's hard because I need the light to see the wattage. So really, this is virtual reality. This is a corncob bulb on steroids. I hope Phillips is okay with me saying those things. Now, I just put it in at full, and it stayed dim. I don't know why that was. The dimmer switch was almost completely on, and it was dim. Then I took this dimmer switch down to 0 and came back up, and then it was full again. So I don't know what's up with that. Maybe it has some electronics in there, I don't know. But now I'm blind in the eye, and I can't see the wattage here. So I was unable to see the wattage on that bulb, but I remember it was 25 watts. So for an intermediate bulb, this is really nice. It gives the effect of an incandescent bulb. You can totally see the filaments inside. I don't know if you probably can't see that on my camera, but you can see the filaments even when it's all the way full on. You can see them. And it's kind of cool. It's just like an incandescent bulb. So if this lasts for 3 years with 8 hours of use every day, that's a heck of a deal, because it'll probably pay for itself. And it's neat to keep up with the newest stuff. You know, we don't necessarily, the incandescent bulbs, they have their place. If you have like a little love shack or something, put an incandescent bulb in it, you know, especially if you're older. But if you just have regular rooms, you're eating dinner or watching TV, there's nothing wrong with having some really nice, long-lasting LEDs. And honestly, this one from Philips, I am not affiliated with Philips. Like, I'm just impressed, honestly. Not at all affiliated with any light manufacturers, and I really don't have any skin in the game other than whether or not I have to buy a new one or whether or not my light turns on when I flip the switch or push the slider up. So that's it. But I do have an eBay store. I showed you at the beginning of the video the logo, but it's GB Hatchery. It's an eBay store. I sell all kinds of used items on there. You know, I would show my face, but it'd be a whole nother camera setup. So, but you can check my other videos, and I hope this video helped you with your decision on this bulb. So on that note, that concludes this video. Thanks for watching. I hope you're safe and healthy, and I will see you in the next video.